Full frame mirrorless cameras can easily run you thousands upon thousands of dollars just for the body alone. But this Nikon Z6 is under $750. So let's talk about it in this video. What's up, y'all? It's Project Photography back with another video, and today, before we get started, make sure to follow all my socials down in the description bar below. But this right here is the Nikon Z6. This is an incredible camera for so many reasons, but it's starting to show its age in 2024, and with an impending Z6 III on the horizon, it's no wonder that this camera, it starts to feel outdated. But honestly, I think that this is going to be an incredible budget option for a lot of landscape photographers out there who don't want to break the bank but want stellar image quality, amazing ergonomics, and incredible handling. And the Z6 has been my main camera since 2019. And honestly, it's been used for absolutely everything, but for landscape photography in particular, it's helped me capture some incredible images. And there's just so much I love about this camera. I loved it so much that I actually bought a second Nikon Z6. But if you compare the Nikon Z6 to newer cameras that have come out, like for example, the Z8, we do see better image quality, better ergonomics, nicer screens, and even 15-second exposure times. All these things help make an easier landscape photography experience. Now, will that be the reason that you do not get shots when it comes to actually using the Z6? Absolutely not. I mean, if you just look at these images I've taken over time, they're absolutely stunning in so many different ways. Of course, having those features would make landscape photography easier, but it won't be the reason that you do not capture images. But if we just take a look at the Z6 in a vacuum, we can see amazing image quality, amazing ergonomics, and a camera that will help you capture the images that you want to capture. And of course, like, I would love to see improved dynamic range, improved image quality in a future Z6 III. But for what it is, and for like 99% of scenarios, you will be able to capture amazing images with this camera. On top of it, I love fitting it into my Shimoda Action X30, and because I have two of them, I really had to make sure I found a camera that was nice and compact. And you just pack such a punch with this because it's a full frame camera. The Nikon Z6 overall is honestly an incredible camera, and I have no doubt in my mind that it's going to be a staple in my bag for years to come, even if a new Z6 III comes out. But I did mention that you can get this camera for $750 and under, and I really want to talk about how you can do that in this next part. But for now, let's take a quick break and talk about our friends over at MMobile. MMobile is our partner for today's episode, and today I'll be giving you the 3 best qualities that I've enjoyed about using their service. First off, switching to Mint was super easy, as it only took me 15 minutes to go from my previous carrier to Mint. Luckily, my phone allowed me to use eSIM cards, which allowed me to switch from the comfort of my own home. And if you wanted to check them out, you could scan the QR code on screen or check the link in my description. Second, they have great coverage as they're built on the nation's largest 5G network. It's allowed me to stream my favorite music while shooting, travel to my location without a loss of signal, and even reference my notes when shooting content for you guys. And since their phone plans start at $15 a month, it's allowed me to travel to farther locations to get better landscape images as a result. It's allowed me to experience more of the world and capture more photos because of the cost savings. And now through the end of January, new customers can get any plan for just $15 a month when they purchase 3 months or more. This includes the unlimited plan, which is normally $30 a month. And again, if you're interested, feel free to check the link in my description or scan the QR code on screen. Thank you again to Mint for partnering with me in today's episode, and let's get right back and talk about how you can get the Nikon Z6 for under $750. So obviously, I am a huge fan of the Nikon Z6, and I think there's just so many features in this camera that a lot of photographers would really enjoy. Obviously not a perfect camera, but what is, right? And I did mention that you can get this camera for under $750, and I want to show you guys exactly how to do that. So let's jump right over to eBay, and I'm a huge proponent of buying used, and there is a certain way to do it without getting a camera that is just beat to crap or just not in good condition. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys that now. So first of all, obviously type in the Nikon Z6, and then my favorite thing to do is go sort by price plus shipping, lowest first, obviously so we can get the lowest price possible, and then buy it now. And what I would do then is just look through the different listings, right? Let's just take a look at this one. This is $689, which is really solid. And so I would obviously look through all of the images and see what the camera looks like, the shape of it. Obviously buying from a retailer or a brand that is trusted to a degree. And you can see that this one has a pretty decent amount of reviews and so forth, 99.8% positive, so they're pretty good, so you can trust them. So now I would just look through the camera and see if there's any defects, anything that would warrant a red flag. Now, obviously there's gonna be some parts of it where it's not in the most perfect condition because you are buying used, but overall, I think a camera like this would be okay. I mean, we do have some cosmetic wear for here, example, and we do see some scratches on the screen. But for the most part, as long as it's in good working condition and the cosmetic wear isn't too crazy, I'd be pretty happy with it. And if we go down to the description, we kind of see what that looks like. And for example, if you're okay with the scratches and scrapes and stuff, then I think this would be a perfectly fine one to accept. As long as the complete functionality of it is okay and fully working, I don't think it's a bad idea to go with something that's maybe cosmetically imperfect. Now, there's limits to it, of course. If it's like everything's falling off and it just is not in working condition, period, then that obviously is not a good one to get. So for me, I found a listing that I'd be pretty happy with, $749. That's like right on the edge of $750, but obviously you can find them cheaper if you're okay with something else. But you know, I think this is a pretty good looking camera right here. It looks in actually very good condition. I'm very surprised about that. So this is a listing that I would be comfortable getting, obviously with the description, nothing crazy, but we can see they include like the charger and all that. So yeah, if I were to pick up another Nikon Z6, this would probably be the one that I get. So I hope this segment was helpful to a degree in picking out and understanding, you know, what makes sense to get in terms of a used Nikon Z6. But now let's go back and let's talk about why I think the Z6 is actually a really great value camera to buy in 2024. Now, obviously, there are better cameras than the Z6. There's no doubt about it. The Z6 II is incredible. Z7 II, Z8, all have really good features that I feel like a lot of landscape photographers would love and make the photography experience better. But does that mean that the Z6 is a bad camera? Obviously not. I mean, this is the main workhorse camera that I use on a day-to-day basis for all of my landscape photography. And just because you're spending $3,000 on a camera doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna get better images. And I think it's really easy to see how the Z6 is still an incredible camera and honestly probably one of the best value mirrorless cameras that you can buy in 2024. Because instead of spending $3,000 for one camera body, you can legitimately pick up a Z6 plus a 14-30 and a 24-200 all for under $3,000. Now, that's an entire full frame mirrorless camera kit for under $3K that you would just be spending on one camera alone if you bought something like a Z8. And I think that's just something to be said about not only the longevity of the Z6, but also where camera gear stands in 2024. And I think the best part about getting something like a Z6 is that it doesn't sacrifice on image quality, on all the other factors that make a good camera, because the Z6 has all of that. I mean, we were saying that this is one of the best cameras that Nikon's come out with in 2018, so what makes it different in 2024? Not really much. Only difference is that other cameras have come out and made the camera not look as good. But in a vacuum, you're still able to capture incredible images at a much more affordable price than something like a Z8 or a Z7 II. And just because it's cheap in price does not mean it's cheap in quality. And I mean, just imagine what you can use that type of money for. Imagine going onto an amazing location, a national park, to capture better images because you save money on camera gear. I mean, you're not sacrificing on anything when it comes to this camera. 95% of landscape photographers will be very happy shooting with a full frame camera like this. And at the end of the day, what is money good for? Money is good for getting you out to better locations to capture better images as a result. Because if you have an incredible camera but you don't have a good location, it's still incredibly hard to capture amazing landscape photography. And if you can save money, go on better trips as a result of buying a Z6, then honestly, I'm all for it, and that's something I would highly recommend. Camera gear is simply a means to an end to help experience the world better. And if we're not experiencing the world in a better way, then really, what is it all for? So I'm a really big advocate of the Z6, especially in 2024. And I think with an impending Z6 III coming out on the horizon, we could see the price of this thing drop even further. I'm talking about sub $600. Imagine a $500 Nikon Z6 full frame that still has incredible image quality and will help you capture the images you want to capture. I think to me, that is a no-brainer. Of course, you know, if you need the other features, then that makes sense to go with them. I really think for a lot of photographers, this is gonna kill it when it comes to capturing landscape photography in particular. And for me, I feel like landscape photographers don't need a ton of specs, nothing crazy, so I just really feel like this ticks off a lot of the boxes that I would need for landscape photography. So yeah, guys, what do you think about the Nikon Z6 in 2024? Do you have one? And what's your opinion on it moving forward? Love to hear what you guys think in the comment section down below. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for experiencing the world with me today. Please feel free to rate, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.